So deal on St. Thomas Aquinas is on crime and punishment. Okay. Now, we have already tackled St. Thomas Aquinas in our discussions on natural law and human law. So just a simple review first. Of course, St. Thomas Aquinas, uh, the heart of Aquinas' philosophy is in the concept of natural law. This is a set of moral principles inherent in human nature and discoverable through reason. Now, he posits that all human laws, okay, human laws, uh, or we call that positive laws, should be derived from natural law to be just. No? To be just, all human laws, okay, we have human laws, no? Or the philosophical term of this is positive laws. In order to be just, must conform, no? Must and should be derived from natural. That's why according to Aquinas, diba, he has classified four laws. We have eternal laws. Eternal law, this is the divine wisdom of God. Okay. Then we have natural law, the participation of rational creatures in the eternal law. Eternal law is a divine wisdom of God governing the universe. The natural law is the participation of rational creatures in the eternal law. Then we have the third, we have the positive law or the human law, specific regulations created by human societies. Regulations created by human societies, which should, no, should reflect natural law. And of course, the last is we have divine law, for St. Thomas Aquinas, revelation found in scriptures. Okay, this is the revelation found in scriptures, guiding humans, okay, guiding humans to their ultimate end. Now, what's the thought of Aquinas on crime? Now, Aquinas views crime as an offense against both natural law and human law. Okay. This is an offense against natural and human law. Now, for Thomas Aquinas, that's why he distinguished sin versus crime. Now, sin, um, for Thomas Aquinas, he distinguished sin versus crime. Sin is the violation of divine or moral law. Whereas crime is a violation of human law. Remember that not all sins are crimes, but all crimes are considered sins. Second thought of Aquinas is about the common good. Laws are oriented towards the common good. Thus, crimes are actions that harm societal harmony and justice. The third is about rational order. Thomas Aquinas said that crime disrupts rational order. That laws aim to maintain. How? Okay, the rational order is what laws aim to maintain. So crimes oppose reason against reason and virtue. That's the philosophical thought of Aquinas on crime. And Thomas Aquinas, as shared by your classmates, no, your classmate here, um, Aquinas outlines several purposes of punishment. Okay. The purpose of why we do punish the offenders. Now, for Aquinas, um, punishments are meant to restore the balance disrupted by crime. That's why, yes, first, for Thomas Aquinas, there is what we call retribution. Retributions are punishments serves as a just response to wrongdoing. No? Just response to wrongdoing. Giving the offender what is due proportionate to the offense. That's retribution for Thomas Aquinas. Second, he dealt with deterrence. Deterrence discourages the offender. Why do we have punishment? In order to deter, to discourage us, to discourage. No? Deterrence, it discourages the offender. And others from committing similar offense or similar acts in the future. And third, Thomas Aquinas also deal with rehabilitation. For Thomas Aquinas class, punishment aims to correct the offender's will, guiding them back to virtuous living. That's why there is a need for rehabilitation to guide the offenders back to virtuous living. And the last thought on the of Thomas Aquinas on his discussion regarding the purpose of punishment is, of course, for the protection of society. By removing or restraining the offender, society is safeguarded from future harm. By penalizing, by punishing, removing, or um, restraining the offender, society is safeguarded. From what? From future harm. Now, Thomas Aquinas also deal with principles governing punishment. Huh? What are the principles governing punishment? In the view of Thomas Aquinas, first, there is this proportionality. The severity of the punishment, okay, should match with the gravity. Okay. If the punishment is severe, should match it is because the crime committed is so grave. Second, Thomas Aquinas, there is legitimate authority. Only those with lawful authority should administer punishment. What purpose? To maintain order and, of course, prevent injustice. Intention. is very important as well. The aim should be what's the intention for for punishment? Of course, the aim should be the common good. No? We do not punish or penalize the offender out of vengeance or cruelty. Should always be for common good, not vengeance or cruelty. So since we deal with the case of Echegaray, now before discussing that, of course, let's deal with capital punishment in the view of Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas class does not categorically oppose capital punishment. Now, Aquinas argues just for him it's justifiable in certain cases. If an individual's actions gravely threaten the common good, no other means suffice to protect society. Then, of course, there's analogies. Thomas Aquinas compares a dangerous criminal to a diseased limb. No? A dangerous criminal to a diseased limb that must be amputated. Okay, we have to amputate. What purpose? To save the body. That was the analogy of Thomas Aquinas. And of course, Aquinas dealt with mercy and justice. While punishment is necessary, sabi ni Thomas Aquinas, it should be tempered with mercy when appropriate. Of course, now, what's the influence of Thomas Aquinas' philosophy in crime and punishment on Philippine law and jurisprudence? The Philippine legal system, of course, this influence of Spanish civil law and American common law, also reflects natural law principles akin to those of Aquinas. You have the Constitution, the constitutional foundation. The Philippine Constitution emphasizes the dignity of every human person and the promotion of the common good. But it is reflected in preamble, no? Echoing natural law themes. Also, the criminal law principles, the revised penal code incorporates the idea of proportionality in penalties and recognizes both retributive and rehabilitative purposes of punishment. And of course, in human rights, the Bill of Rights safeguards against cruel and degrading punishment in Article 3, Section 19, no? Aligning with Aquinas' emphasis on just and humane treatment.